Hi there. I'm hoping that you've already had a chance to watch the other videos that I've made with my target members this last few weeks. I happened to be talking to my team developer and friend Gemma, and she said, "Do you know what, Jane? I think that your members would like to know a bit about you." And so it was her idea that we do this video, so I'm blaming her. I'm just going to give her a chance to introduce herself, and then we're going to have a little chat. So over to Gemma.
Hi, so I'm Gemma, and I wanted to take this opportunity to have a little chat with Jane today. I know how much she goes above and beyond to support her members, and obviously we see Jane, the lovely, welcoming, warm face and the friendly person that she is. But I thought that you guys might want to know a bit more about Jane and Jane's journey and what you're all about and what's brought you to where you are now. So do you want to take us right back to the beginning? Jane, when did you first become a member?
I actually became a member about 20 years ago, and I have had a weight problem all my life. You know, I was that typical chubby baby, plump adolescent, I went to senior school at 11 stone, so I've literally had a weight problem all my life, which I've been constantly battling. And I'd got to about 39, and Graham, my husband, he suddenly had problems with his sight. And we had all sorts of tests and the consultant at the hospital thought he had a brain tumour. So there I was, 39, with a 39-year-old husband. We thought that he was losing his sight. And I thought, I've got 3 young children and I'm 18 stone and I'm going to have to look after a husband and 3 children and possibly get a job, and look at me, how am I going to do that? And I decided that that was the time when I needed to do something about my weight problem, and so I joined Slimming World.
So Jane, can I ask how it felt on that first night that you joined?
I can remember my heart was beating, I was full of trepidation, but just as I do to my members, I had a lovely warm welcome from my consultant at the time, and she went through the plan with me, she reassured me. When I actually joined at Whitley Group, which is where I'm a consultant now, so that's why Whitley has a sort of a special place in my heart. And I'm going to be really honest with you now, Gemma, and say to you that in my first week I lost £3, and I was absolutely devastated, because I joined with a friend who was half my weight, not quite, but much lighter than I am, and she lost £6 in her first week. And I'd spent the whole of that week on the phone to her saying, oh, you can have this, oh no, you can't have that, you must, do this and do that. Because I'd sat and I'd read that book from front to back. I had read every bit of information, and I went bounding into group thinking, half a stone at least. And I stood on the scales and it was £3, and I was crushed. And then Catherine jumped on the scales and she'd lost 6. I was like, this is never fair in 100 years. However, to give myself credit, I stuck with it and I lost 7.5 stone in 20 months.
Wow.
So one thing I will say to members, yes, please aim high, but just have belief, because I promise you this plan will work. But sometimes we don't always get those weight losses immediately that we're expecting.
So after leaving that group, after that first weigh-in, feeling like that after losing £3, feeling crushed and devastated, what got you going and kept you going?
Determination, because I wanted to lose weight. I've got a friend and she says, inside every overweight person is a thin person trying to get out. And I knew that I had a thin person inside me, and I wanted to release her. And I wanted to be able to enjoy my children. So Ben, who was my youngest, was 6 at the time. He used to go for swimming lessons every Saturday morning. And to begin with, I was just too embarrassed to do any form of exercise whatsoever. And while I was a Slimming member, we'd started Body Magic. And I was like, no way was I going to be, going out doing anything. And then after a little while, Graham said to me, why don't we go swimming while Ben's having his swimming lesson. Me and Graham used to go in the water and swim, and then when Ben's lesson was finished, he used to come in and get in with us and have a little swim. And one day he looked at me and he looked at me and went, "Mummy, I didn't know you could swim."
Oh.
Because he'd never actually seen me in the water. Even when we went on holiday, I'd be in shorts and a baggy t-shirt and I'd paddle. Because I wouldn't go in the water because I was too embarrassed. Wrongly, but that you have to go with how you feel, don't you?
Absolutely. What a magic moment.
And you know what, Gemma? I sat and I cried because I thought, this is what losing weight has given me.
Yeah.
A simple thing like going swimming with my son.
Oh, that's made me all tingly and goosebumpy. That's amazing. So what I was going to say is, how that's such an incredible amount of weight, and how did that change your life? But
well, it transformed it. Yeah,
absolutely.
And actually, that's what made me want to become a consultant.
You make it sound so easy, and 7 stones, absolutely incredible. Has there been bumps along the way?
Many. And I like to think that is what makes me the consultant that I am, because I really understand that losing weight isn't easy. The extra easy plan is easy to follow, but that doesn't mean it happens automatically. You don't just walk through the door of group, pay your £4.95 and lose £2. Our groups would be overflowing. You've still got to be prepared to make the choices, and it's that, do I want the chocolate or do I want the weight loss? And I am an emotional eater, and my members laugh because I say to them, there's no emotion that I can't eat my way through, whether it's happiness or sadness. I can celebrate or commiserate with food. And I lost 7.5 stone reasonably easily, I would say, looking back. Had my moments, but generally because I was driven, because I needed to lose weight, because I didn't know what the outcome of Graham's problems were. It turned out that he'd had a stroke and it had damaged his optic nerve, and that's why he'd lost some of his sight. But we had nearly 18 months of real worry until they actually had sort of come to all of that diagnosis. So that was quite a tough time. But life has a way of throwing curveballs at us. I got to Target, and then very shortly after that, middle son Matt had Crohn's and arthritis at 15. My mum was diagnosed with cancer and was, very poorly. And I had a lot going on, and so I really was struggling to sort of hang on to the weight that I had lost. When I got to Target, I was the person that would never put weight back on. I'd worked too hard to lose all this weight and I was never changing. This is where I was going to stop. But I struggle because I've had, many ups and downs, and I think I have to be honest and say, even now, I'm not exactly where I would like to be. But I think I acknowledge that this is something that I am going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. And when I'm on plan, I can lose weight. When I'm not on plan, I put weight on. And it's as simple as that.